The information provided is for educational purposes and is not intended as medical advice or a substitute for the medical advice of a physician or another qualified healthcare professional. We do not aim to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any illness or disease. You should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professional for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. The information in this presentation has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or any other medical body. So we're here for a really, really special interview today with your absolute favourite, Dr Christiane Northrup. Now, you know Dr Christiane is a pioneer in health freedom, empowering millions to take their truth and control of their well-being. Best-selling author, visionary, and an absolute fearless speaker. She's dedicated to exposing the truth about health, healing, and sovereignty in today's world. It's so great to have you here to share your wisdom with us, Dr. Christiane, and we've got an incredibly important subject matter to talk about today. So before we dive in, how are you yourself?
I am very good, thank you. I'm looking forward to this 2025 and to see what it finally reveals to those who have not been able to see.
I mean, it couldn't have started more explosively, literally. And, I would say to people, be careful what you wish for, because everyone's been saying for years in this sort of community that hurry up, we want it to get it on. Well, now we are really in the pots of it. So it's time for us to do all the work. We've all been prepared for the last few years and to really stay steadfast in what we're creating. And I couldn't resist having this conversation with you because when I saw your interview on the Inspired channel about an amazing collaboration and event that you're running about the epidemic of parasites, talking about it, not just the parasites in and on our body, but also in our soul and in our lives in a wider context. I have never heard someone else talk about it like that, Dr. Christiane. So please tell everyone, dive straight in. What is it you're doing?
Well, we've recently realized that most cancer is parasites, multiple sclerosis is parasites, and that was all new to me because I was never taught that in med school. But in 2018, I wrote this, Dodging Energy Vampires, and this is a book that I wrote because I was noticing that my patients with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, whatever, they would not get better unless they dealt with the relationship parasites in their lives. So this book is about the cluster B personalities. So that's narcissism, borderline personality, histrionic, schizotypal. And there's no treatment for those in psychiatry. In other words, there's no pill that you can take. It's 1 in 5 people has one of those traits. It's like Asperger's. There's a spectrum. You can live with someone who's a little self-centered. But if they're a full-on psychopath, which is 1 in 100, you can't. And Dr. Lee Merritt, who's part of our course, is going to talk about the parasites running the higher ranking, like what we know. And I always sort of knew this. I would say, your most powerful parasites are running countries,
Yeah.
okay? So she talked about the fact that in submarines, the Navy has to figure out who can stay underneath the polar ice cap for 3 months. And they're incredible at testing to determine who can do this. The one group they cannot test for, psychopaths,
Yeah.
because these are chameleons. They tell you what you want to hear. Now, listen, everybody, because we're going to talk about how this goes from the astral spiritual. We have a lot of churches that appear to be biblical that are actually run by darker energies. So it goes from spiritual to astral to physical. And because I understood the energy vampire stuff and that empathic people, the kind of people who listen to your show, the kind of people who always come to me, the people who have compassion and who believe the best in everybody and have real problems with boundaries and are willing to give up their Saturday if they're better looking narcissistic best friend just needs them, or whatever it is. So I knew that people needed to deal with that, where they were treated like doormats. Then we began to learn that there were parasites that are probably causing most of the cancer. So all this
Yeah.
stuff that's been hidden. So we knew from COVID, a lot of stuff had been hidden. So Lee Merritt and I are literally on a mat designed to increase voltage. The
Mm-hmm.
that Dr. Jeff Weitzman, not Jeff Weitzman, Wolfman talks about. So we're relying on that to increase our voltage at the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Conference. And then Jeff mentions the word. It's not parasites. It's parasitism,
Yeah.
which is that is the whole plague of our time, where all the systems we've grown up under have been parasiting our life energy. Now, this is an incredible thing to understand, because all parasites aren't going to kill you,
Mhm.
but they will if your life energy and your voltage is constantly drained. The body's a battery. If it's constantly drained by fear, bad news, income tax. Oh, we have a new tax in our state now. The governor just called it a revenue generating fee.
Oh,
It's a frickin' tax. Okay. So we are taxed from the moment of birth to the moment of death. And if you look at what just happened to the taxes of the people in California, where did all that money go? Because
yeah.
that money allegedly is going for services, sewage, water, fire, all this stuff. Nope, it's been parasited. So I want people to understand that. And because we have three times more bacteria, parasites, viruses in our bodies than cells. We're supposed to live together as a happy community, as above, so below. But what happens when you get beaten down, depressed, scared to death, which is what happened during COVID, you become a host for a parasite. And that could be the basic worms in your stomach, which you're seeing pictures of now all the time. Um, or it could be that you become a nurse with a purse, that you're on a dating site and you're over 60 and you've got some money and a home, and suddenly you're very attractive to a male parasite who has not done well with his life. And you are so desperate for love and to be seen that you're willing to give all of your life energy and your resources. I want to read you something from a book called Defeated Demons, Freedom from Consciousness Parasites in a Psychopathic Society. This is by Thomas Sheridan. And I thought this was incredible. Psychopaths will leave effusive and flattering comments on your social network page after you friend them. They will text you numerous times a day, call you on the phone just to hear your voice before they sleep. They continually quiz you about your sexual fantasies, then enthusiastically promise to fulfill them all on the day you physically meet. Steadily and by degrees, they build a comprehensive profile of you in order to create a blueprint for constructing a mirror perfect soulmate persona. And then they claim you. Now, I want you to see this as something writ large, but also in an individual relationship. They claim your heart, your energy, creativity, happiness, peace, sanity, strength, and in some cases, all or most of your worldly goods. And then they begin to destroy you. Eternally hungry, forever empty, they never stop seeking the one thing that makes you human, and the one thing they will always lack, your soul. That's what we are dealing with, and it is in fact biblical. So, in our parasitism course, Jeff and I will kick it off by talking about parasitism in general, but what you can do. Like you can't heal anything if you're low voltage. You
Yeah.
can't. That's why we do the pulsed electromagnetic fields and you do sauna, you do grounding, all of that stuff. But you need to know the way they work. Now, we've all been gaslit by our government. So gaslighting is a technique of a narcissist where you say, those lights seem to be flickering here. Oh no, that's your imagination when he's got the hand on the knob that's making them flicker. So what happens is you always feel off kilter a little bit with these people. Like if you're married to one, you feel like you got to write everything down because he's going to deny it later, this kind of.
Yes.
Okay, so this is very, very common. And all of us people who've been sucked in to the New Age movement, or any of this, the love and light people,
Mm.
we are in fact made of biophotonic light. That is all true. But on this particular planet, if you don't understand how darkness works, if you don't get it, then you will unwittingly go right into this situation. Generally speaking, the energy vampires are more attractive than you are. They light up a room, they're charismatic, they're feeding off of the energy of everyone else. And when you find out there's nothing there, it is like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no
Yeah.
attention to the man. That's what we're going through right now. So people need strategies for dealing with this. Now, if you start with the physical parasites, we're going to tell you exactly how to do a parasite cleanse, with fenben and ivermectin and maybe turpentine and chlorine dioxide and all of those things we're hearing about, because we're now seeing in the peer-reviewed literature, you're seeing examples of stage 4 cancer being cured with fenbendazole and ivermectin. But you're not going to stay healthy until you understand all the rest of it. So, what I want you to do right now, just ask yourself a question. Is this relationship, in this relationship I'm in, am I receiving as much as I'm giving? Am I receiving less than what I'm given? Because here's what happens. The empath, like me, has a negative ego. We keep it alive, that negative ego, by looking for things to improve about ourselves. We're never good enough. Now, the narcissist, they never think anything's wrong. That is why when you bring up this material, when they learn it, and they'll learn it better than you, just so you know, just like they know the scripture better than you. Um, so when you bring this up, what they'll do is they will claim to be an empath. I've never once, not ever, had an empaths worry that they're the narcissist. They read
All
the
the
things, they
time. They
go,
really
oh,
do. Yeah.
yeah, oh my God, is that me?
Mm.
Okay, you will never, ever, ever hear a narcissist own, oh my God, could that be me? No, no, no. They'll run for the victim position every time.
Mm.
They are the empath. Oh, you can't imagine how much I feel. They've crocodile tears. They
Mm.
cry at movies. It's empty affect. What they're good at and is acting. They're incredible at acting. And so you never know. You go to a movie and oh my God, they're weeping and you think, oh, he gets it. He's so sensitive. Wrong. You're a snack for them. They live off of your life energy. So you need to see yourself as this orb of light, and that you have all you need through your connection with God, through your connection with the earth. And you don't need that person. But what we do, we worship false idols, so we get addicted to them. And it's so interesting to me that in the microbe world, Lee Merritt will show you a way that a parasite in your physical body is a predator. They
Yeah.
act like a predator. So what we see, I remember learning all this stuff about how cancer metastasized, how it went, where it went, all that. Well, it's just a predator. So it's going for the areas of your body with the most life force in the same way that pedophiles go for little children. Notice the people who are wanting to adopt the minor attracted person, right? MAPS, no, pedophile. They're not arguing for a chance to go into a nursing home
Yeah.
ever. No, no. They go where the life force is the most dense. So what you want to do is become the life force that is the most dense in yourself, and then wrap that envelope of light around you. Now, every guru I have ever known, I remember Joan Borisenko talking about this out in Boulder, Colorado. Every guru was having sex with all of the new devotees, male
Yes.
and female. There was one um, ashram out in Boulder where the guru had AIDS and was sleeping with everyone because the con was, now listen to this, everybody, because a lot of us have been there. Um, you won't, I am so high vibration that you won't catch anything from me. Now, there's some truth to that. Those of us with the higher vibration don't tend to get the diseases that everyone else is having. That's what you and I teach. Um, how you can be the captain of your own ship and all of the rest of it. But these demons, whether it is a parasite in your body, a type of parasite, or whether it's a person in your life who's a parasite, it's all the same. It's literally all the same. And when Jeff talked about, and he has a website, quantumparasiteprotocol.com. So, people should know about that. And then if they're interested in the mat that he has, it's Centropix, CentroPix /Dr. Jeff. Those mats, you've heard of them. There's the Beamer and all of that. They increase voltage. That is
Yeah.
the whole deal. How you do it, you can stand on the ground for 20 minutes. That will increase your voltage. You can put your back up against a tree. That'll increase your voltage. Hug a tree. Put your hand over a branch. That will increase your voltage. So I don't want people to think that you have to spend money to increase your voltage. In fact, what you want to do is don't pay any attention to the mainstream media
Mm-hmm.
ever. And you know what's interesting? I knew this years ago because I was on the mainstream media a lot. But it didn't get nearly as bad. And the reason that it's so bad now, I want to give everyone hope, is that the portals for these demons have been closed off. And I work with, the galactic and spiritual informers and also Jesus. And I do not think that they're mutually exclusive. And what I know is they have closed off some of the big energy vampire systems that come through the obelisks that they've got in each city.
Yeah.
And those programs have been shut down, but every one of us is responsible for his or her response to the parasites. It's interesting to me that if you go back in the medical literature, like to 1890, 1900, they're always mentioning parasites. And then they just
Ways.
disappeared.
Yeah.
They just
And also
disappeared.
they had so many natural remedies that really, really works. I mean, there's so many herbs, for example, that are incredibly effective about parasites because they sort of the beauty of growing a herb and every parasite, no two tapeworm are exactly the same. And then the same with the herbs that combat the parasites. They've got this natural variation all the time, so you don't get any resistance to them.
I love that. And I've heard, I have a friend who is a goat farmer, and he
Mm,
said what they love is the Christmas trees because
absolutely.
the pine needles
Mm.
are anti-parasitic. And it's interesting to me that during COVID, pine needle tea was one of the things that really, really helped people. So remember, everybody, the medical system is a parasiting system. The average 65-year-old in the United States is on 6 prescription drugs.
Mm.
If you're taking a statin, the side effects are dementia, breast cancer, muscle soreness and weakness. And what have they done? Every so often, the number for a healthy cholesterol goes down.
Yeah.
So now if your cholesterol is over 200, they'll just tell you you need a statin, even if you're feeling fine. This creates all these other problems, and then you're on a medication for that. I would say statins are one of the worst
Yeah.
things that's ever been invented. The other one is constant antibiotics. Let's say you
Mhm.
have acne. So you're on tetracycline, which is killing your gut bacteria. So what we're looking for always is an eco village, a true eco village, like that little documentary. What is it? It's about a farm. It's a beautiful, beautiful documentary about a farm, and how long it took to get that farm going. It was about 7 years.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to biggest little farm, wonderful, wonderful documentary. So what you want to be doing is living as a living ecosystem so that the parasites that are probably there don't take over and make you sick. Like we know, for instance, that if you're craving sweets all the time, it's not you, it's the parasites. So what do they feed on? They feed on heavy metals,
Yeah.
cortisol and epinephrine, the stress hormones, sugar, and alcohol. All
Mm.
the things that we do to make ourselves feel less stressed. Notice, I'm currently watching a Netflix thing called Younger because I love the lead, Sutton Foster, who was on Broadway, and I saw her in Thoroughly Modern Millie, and she's just like just pure sunshine. But the amount of drinking in this series is unbelievable. They're always going out to the bar. They're
Yeah.
always celebrating with shots. They're just poisoning themselves. And that's parasiting if you don't know what's going on. See, you can enjoy that. I can enjoy that show on my biomat, but know what the messages are because I'm parasite proof to a degree with the way theater and movies work. I have a daughter who was,
Absolutely.
in New York in theater and singing, and she left there, when the mandate started. So what I want everyone to know, so here's what's going to happen. Me and Jeff Wolfman, and he'll talk about how he can see where the parasites are in someone, astral, relationship, physical, financial. Let's look at the financial system. Think about it. Your birth certificate is traded on the stock exchange. You have a legacy account set aside for you. And then every traffic ticket, if you have to go to court, any of it, they're all paid. The system's paid out of your lifetime labor. It's hard to believe that. And then there's the Federal Reserve. It's not federal and there's no reserve, and it's owned just by these families. They print as much money as they want and charge you interest.
Oh,
Or
absolutely. I mean, I think so many people are waking up now to the money system, but not knowing what they can do about it because, sort of that's the issue. It's almost like, well, now I know how bad it is. What is the alternative? What do I do about it? And I think that's what we're starting to see coming out this year, big time, is a solution.
we're starting to see the solutions. There are many people teaching it, but of course, anything that works is censored, you see.
Oh, impossibly. Do you know, since I've had, I mean, health is my real passion for animals and humans, Dr. Christiane, and all the health related content gets censored so badly. It's so
Yeah.
shadow bad. It's ridiculous. So trying to get this message out to people is very, very difficult, which is why we really need the audience's participation. And we're going to give you a little code word to put in the comments below,
Right.
because when you get that interaction, as we always say, sort of energy flows where attention goes, and we can program the algorithms positively rather than let them doing it negatively.
Yes, in fact, I was listening to Andy Wakefield
Yeah.
talk about that the biggest mistake they made was the mandated COVID things. That was the biggest mistake they made, because even though he's been pushing that rock up the hill, he was the first guy to get broadly censored. And then, Thompson at the CDC finally admitted that Andy was right and he had
Was
hidden all
right.
the data.
But
And so,
most people don't know about that, because I
no,
was
they
my
don't.
generation when I had my children. I will be forever grateful to Andy Wakefield, forever grateful, because he was the one that opened my mind. But so many people, the saying mud sticks is so true, because all my biologist friends haven't seen the fact that actually it's been proven that everything that he said was right all along. They only saw the negative, and the truth isn't being publicized far and wide. You have to go looking for it.
That's right. And that's why I'm grateful to Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who is the
Absolutely.
moderator for our seminar. Sherry Tenpenny is the one, her research kept me from having inoculations in my children who are in their 40s.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, so there's a lot, and but they're losing. Okay,
yeah,
because the way these demons work, they're in the background and they don't come out swinging until it's the end. And I want everyone to know it is the end. But they won't go down without a fight. And the way they do it, if you've ever been in relationship with someone like this, rather than admit defeat, they don't mind if they kill you and kill themselves at the same time. Please remember, everybody, they're they are more clever than you can imagine. They're sicker than you are smart. They think of things you would never think of to bring you down. And you're not dealing with a normal person. You're not dealing it. Let me give you an example. So I had a friend who was like this, a psychopath person, and she had no compunction of stealing the front row seats from
yeah,
other people, putting her foot in the door if they were about to close the door, doing things that those of us who are an empath, we'd feel everyone else is, like, no, she would just go for it. I mean, without feeling anything else that was going on
mm,
around her. That's being wired very differently. And you have to understand, they are living on other people's energy. They're
yeah,
parasitic, but they tell you they're the ones at the top of the flagpole and you can't live without them. And usually it's exactly the opposite, exactly the opposite. So me and Jeff, then we're going to have Sherry Tenpenny. Well, Sherry's the moderator. We will have Jason Dean. He's done massive amounts of work around different parasite protocols to truly get the physical parasites out of your body. Then Lee is going to talk about not only parasites and cancer, but also the global parasites, the ones
okay,
who run the WHO, the WEF, the ones behind the agendas for the smart cities. These are the global parasites. And what we don't want to know, we humans, we don't want to, we can't imagine that the end goal is genocide.
yeah,
We can't imagine, because what does a parasite do? You have to understand what it does. It kills its host.
mm,
You would think, why would you kill the host? Wouldn't you want to live in a world that's healthy for everybody? No, it's a death cult.
mm,
It's a death cult. So, as above, so below. You've got these global parasites. Maybe they came here from a very negative galaxy. If you talk to the galactic and spiritual informers, your eyes will be opened in ways that you won't like. But those major demons and their programs are off planet now. And we just have to deal with the hybrids and all of the rest of it. All you have to deal with is your own ecosystem. You see, here's what we think, we empaths, and we've been brought up on this. Okay, children are starving in China. Eat your food. You wouldn't like it. We put our pennies in UNICEF, and we're finding that all of these groups, UNICEF, Red Cross,
mm,
United Way, they're all parasites. They're all, and people don't want to hear that. They want to believe that this charity and that charity and what they're doing. I swear to you, we can do more in our small towns, getting involved locally, supporting each other. It's never going to come from the top down,
Yeah,
ever. And so that's why when Jeff and Lee and I were standing there getting our voltage up, and Jeff says parasitism, I said, oh my goodness, the world needs to know about this as a concept so that you're not just focusing on, oh, a tapeworm came out of me. Like, no, you're actually living with an energy parasite.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's strategy. People are waking up all the time. What you have to do to get rid of parasites is take away their food supply. Make sure that the eggs don't hatch, all of that stuff. So,
Completely. And as you say, I love the fact that you talk about it's all about bringing everything back into balance.
yeah,
That
that's it.
we're not looking to kill and eradicate
No,
everything, because that never works out in our favors. Because when you have that, it's interesting, Dr. Christiane, when in the horsey world where we do worm counts to test for certain parasites, doesn't show them all. But when I was a child, we were told by the vets to aim for 0 eggs in the poos. And then as science moved on, it was like, well, no, you really don't want 0, because if you've
right.
got nothing in there, the immune system shut down. And also you've killed off all the microbiome. So you've then got a completely bare environment where they're going to come back in vengeance and you're going to be much
Yes.
worse. So you're looking to keep everything in balance. And I think so many people are open to this now, where they're really understanding that we've got to be a little bit smarter about how we do things. It's not a eradicate everything and think the job's done, because actually you're then leaving yourself wide open for a real infestation.
Well, look at what we did. You'd get on a plane during COVID, they'd give you that Purell, which is toxic,
Yeah.
and we have an ecosystem on our skin.
Mm-hmm.
And and then swabbing down everything with Lysol and all of it. Now, obviously, there are areas like the operating room where you want to do that,
Yeah.
absolutely. But everyday life, what you want, like you said, you want a community
Mm.
where the microbiome, why that supports each other. I was listening to this wonderful little clip that everyone can see called 100,000 Beating Hearts about a Georgia pig farmer. And he said, you want to have the ruminants with the cows
Yeah.
because there's a parasite that the cattle have, and the sheep, the ruminants are a dead end for that. And then there's one that they have that the cows are a dead end for, and they then keep it balanced. It's
Yeah.
not about becoming fundamentalist in any way. It's just what you said. Keep it all in balance. I can tell you, in gynecology, I can remember women who would come in, 6 yeast infections, 7 in a year. And I knew
Mm.
that was not a monostat deficiency. Let's talk about the ecosystem of the whole genital tract, or the ecosystem in the sinuses.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, but what we've always done is focused on the virus or the bacteria. And by the way, viruses have been called the smallest parasites.
Yeah.
So we always focus on the germ when in fact we have to focus on the ecosystem. So we will help you get a clean, balanced slate, and then how you live in that community.
Oh, it's just absolutely amazing. I think this is so important for everyone. And one of the things that we were saying, just whilst I'm talking about that, I'll bring it up so people can see what you're offering, because it really is incredible. But one of the things that we were saying, Dr. Christiane, is how people could actually have a watch party. So whilst I share the
Yes.
screen, can you tell
Yes.
everyone you've got a discount code that is open that will work until close of play on the 20th. Is that correct?
That's correct. So it is, you will see the link. I think, are you going to be able to post a link?
I'll be putting the link below. So don't worry
Yes.
about this, everyone. The link will be
Okay.
there and pinned in the comments with the discount code.
And the discount code is BUGS, BUGS.
Love it.
So, and that's 40% off. So what we would do, you'll see that the price is $349 starting on January 21st, but there's a 40% discount. if you get this webinar sometime by the end of the day on January 20th. So the discount code is BUGS, BUGS. And there's never been anything like this because nobody has put this together the way we have. Normally, because in medicine, you all know, there's the kidney specialist, and then there's the lung specialist, and then there's the heart specialist and the brain specialist. Parasites don't act that way. They take over the whole, not only your physical body, but your emotional body and your spiritual body. And we're going to show you exactly how to deal with that so that you can live as a being made in the image of God, which is what you are.
I love it. So there's a couple of suggestions for people. The link will be pinned below, whatever platform you're looking at this on, with the discount code BUGS, BUGS. Get 40% off. It's incredible. Dr. Christiane, people can have watch parties. If it's too much for an individual,
Yes.
get some friends together and have a watch party and all just chip in.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Will there be a replay if people are, different time zones all over the world? If they're at work and can't make it, if they pay, will they have access to a replay?
You bet. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So look, this is a win-win situation, everyone. We know that the parasites are there everywhere in all levels of society. Let's really empower ourselves. And the lineup you've got for this is absolutely fantastic. So I will certainly be doing it. I hope as many as you can that are watching can club together with friends. This is how we really take our power back. Any final words for you, Dr. Christiane, for the audience?
Yes, I would say this. 2025 is going to be a rockin' and rollin' where the old stuff breaks down inside us and outside of us, but have no fear, because truly what Catherine and I have been talking about from day one is this is the Great Awakening. This is the golden age that we're headed into. All this stuff that's been parasiting us is not new. It's been going on for centuries. We're finally waking up to it. And you came here to be here right now. This is the greatest show that's ever been going on in our entire solar system. And it's if you are here, first of all, you're the strongest person in the frickin' universe. But you also came to usher in, to midwife, as it were, this whole new time that we know is possible, that we humans have been prevented from experiencing over and over and over. And this time we're going to make it, and you're going to help.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And those of you watching, because of the platforms this is on, we've been very careful with our words. But if you have got loved ones, if you've got animals that are suffering with any sort of disease and they need a new approach to look at, please do pass this information on, because it's absolutely crucial that we look at these things with a new pair of eyes, or actually going back to a lot of the old wisdom that has been hidden from us all. And knowledge is power, but it's the application of knowledge that makes all the difference. So thank you so much for your time today. It's going to be an amazing event. I cannot wait. And I'm sure we will be back for a review of how it all went later on. Let's see what the next few months bring, and good luck to everyone watching it. Thank you so much, Dr. Christiane.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Bye.
taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. This helps us spread the word, and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. And above all, stay curious and stay free.